What is a Christian Science nurse? Well, by the end of this video, you should have a good idea because I'm going to try to answer that for you right now. Hi, I'm Dean Wolfe, and I am a Christian Science nurse since the year 2000. To tackle this question, there are a few things we have to clear off the table, so I've made two lists. The first list is a list of things that a Christian Science nurse is not. The next list is what a Christian Science nurse is, and there will be a short summary. So let's begin. 1. A Christian Science nurse is not a practitioner of medicine, one who administers medical prescriptions or techniques. Number 2, a Christian Science nurse is not one who has any affiliation with a medical nursing college. A Christian Science nurse is not an end-of-life palliative caregiver. 4. A medical professional connected with a religion or church, like a Catholic nurse or a Victorian order nurse. Number 5, a Christian Science nurse is not a secular professional, and we're defining here secular as things that have no religious or spiritual basis. A Christian Science nurse is not merely a non-medical physical caregiver or a personal support care worker or elder care or geriatric long-term care provider. A Christian Science nurse is not a nun or a monk. Number 8. A Christian Science nurse is not aligned with the Church of Scientology. Okay, great, we've got those out of the way. Let's look at what a Christian Science nurse is. 7 points here. A practitioner of a 110-year-old profession, that is in 1908 it began, that is ever so briefly but ever so substantially outlined by Mary Baker Eddy in the manual, the church manual of the Mother Church. From the church manual. Christian Science nurse. A member of the Mother Church who represents himself or herself as a Christian Science nurse shall be one who has a demonstrable knowledge of Christian Science practice, who thoroughly understands the practical wisdom necessary in a sick room, and who can take proper care of the sick. The cards of such persons may be inserted in the Christian Science Journal under the rules established by the publishers. A Christian Science nurse is a religious worker that considers their work to be a holy ministry, an avenue of their practice of the teachings of Christian Science, as opposed to a secular job, quote unquote. A Christian Science nurse is, this is point 3, a professional worker that charges professional fees. A Christian Science nurse is one who has likely taken extensive and intensive training courses, often in training centers, or received one-on-one mentoring from experienced Christian Science nurses with skills such as bed care, food preparation, reading aloud, covering and cleansing wounds, and assistance with all of the needs of daily living. A Christian Science nurse is an active member of the Mother Church in Boston, founded by Mary Baker Eddy. If you want to understand everything about Christian Science and the theology, you should read Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, a book by Mary Baker Eddy. It's the main source book of material and theology for Christian scientists, along with the Bible. A Christian Science nurse is a practicing Christian Science healer, which means they've taken class instruction in the theology of Christian Science by an authorized teacher of Christian Science, and they have experienced healing, physical healings for themselves through their own prayer, and others have had healings based on their prayers. Number 7, someone who may or may not be listed in the Christian Science Journal magazine directory, which is in the back of every issue, comes out monthly. The church manual specifies that they may advertise there. And to summarize, when a Christian Scientist or someone relying on Christian Science exclusively for healing through Christian Science treatment, someone is so challenged that dealing with the regular day-to-day activities is too hard for them without some assistance, they can request the service of a Christian Science nurse to support them through that difficult time, which may involve any kind of care you can imagine. Cleansing and covering wounds, like I mentioned, or help cooking and eating, help getting to the bathroom, help showering, reading Christian Science books and literature to them if they can't study themselves, help them with changing their clothes, perhaps even full bed care, bed baths, changing diapers. And this can be done in the home or in an institutional setting. So they provide lots of practical help, but this help has to be underpinned by their own practice of Christian Science. Why is that? Because the teachings of Christian Science are so specific about the nature of God and man that those who don't understand it, those who have not experienced the changes that that understanding brings to one's life, will not be able to support the patient, mentally speaking, when they are most in need.